were rodents running around. And we petitioned the school to do something about it, and they denied there was a problem. So being a resourceful little street kid that I am, I formed the Rat Club. It attracted some negative attention, and I was called in to see the dean, Dean Gross, at the time of the engineering school. And ostensibly he was there to discipline me and ask me to disband the club. However, he took a liking to me, I took a liking to him, and I had no exposure to the type of culture and class that many people at Columbia grew up with. And he recognized that, and he took me under his wing. And because of the Rat Club and the supposed discipline, I ended up being mentored for a couple of years by Dean Gross, who brought me up to speed and helped me survive Columbia and eventually helped me thrive. So I had a wonderful result from all of that. You think of an engineering dean, you might think of a boring numbers guy, but he was quite cultured and quite interesting, and he threw a dinner that was very elaborate, and it was modeled on an art form that only existed in the 1930s in a few countries in Europe, and then it disappeared. They were very elaborately scripted dinners, not just for the food, but it was a multi-sensory dinner where the script was also the music that was playing, the scents that were in the air, and the textures you were feeling, either with your fingers or waiters rubbing on you. And he reenacted one of those dinners. And he only invited about 10 or 12 people, and I was the only student there, and it was a very expensive, elaborate thing. And I remember it was, one was, you're eating squid tentacles, and at the same time you're smelling sandalwood that's being burned, and you're listening to, Wagner, and somebody is rubbing sandpaper on your neck. You wouldn't expect that from an engineering dean. I didn't know why I was in engineering school. It's not like I wanted to be an engineer per se. I didn't know what one was. I was just a street kid who had good grades, and there was a computer program at my high school, a little rudimentary computer where you typed in what you were looking for. Highly competitive school, within a major city, and competitive atmosphere, average SAT scores, and 2 schools popped up on the list. I applied to both, and Stanford required an essay, so I assume that's why I didn't get accepted. Columbia didn't. And I got in, and I didn't know why. I didn't even know it was an engineering school. I didn't know engineering was separate from the college. I just sort of showed up, and it's like, oh, well, I like math. I guess here I am. You graduate, it's like, well, I guess I'm supposed to look for a job. What do engineers do? And he found me my first job. He called in someone, his name was Henry Michel of Parsons Brinkerhoff, and he was heavily connected as a donor and a consultant with the civil engineering department. And they found a job for me being a construction manager for the reconstruction, historic renovation of Brooklyn City Hall. Thank you, Columbia. It's really, it was my lifeline out of poverty and crime.